Years ago, I decided to start a business. My first step was I did all sorts of spreadsheets. I did meetings. I planned some more, and then I brought on the right kind of business plan to start the business. And next step was to go recruit people. So I started recruiting the best talent I could in operations, accounting, marketing, everything else. And then I wanted to go raise the funds. And at the time I raised, I believe it was 1.5 million to start this business. And this was in 08, 09 is when I launched the business. And I was really excited. I was going to make an impact on the world. And I launched, and literally, as Kevin O'Leary says, in business, poo-poo happened. Well, poo-poo happened to me. And within a year, everything went wrong. I mean, you name it, it went wrong. And it just like marketing didn't hit on time. We didn't have the right accounting. We didn't have the right systems. We didn't have all these things, and things started falling apart. And so within about a year, I'd blown through that funding, and it was down to really my rock bottom point was on a Thursday night. We realized that we had about 2,000 in the bank. Payroll was due the next day, 3,500. And what that meant was I'd have to wake up the next day. I'd have to meet with someone and say, hey, I'm sorry. I know you trusted in me. You joined my team. You thought we're going to make an impact. Well, I can't pay you today. And so literally the next day I go to lunch with my business partner at the time, and we're sitting at lunch, and I've tapped all my resources. Don't have a wealthy family, so there's nowhere I can call. We've really literally have no resources, nothing left. And I remember getting this phone call from my controller, and she called up and she said, hey, Shawn, I was just over and I looked in the our petty cash safe, and I found 3,000 in cash. What would you like me to do with it? And I was like, hang on to that cash. I'll be right there. And I screeched my tires, and I literally drove over there. I picked up the cash. I drove to the bank, and the advantage with having cash at the bank, when you deposited deposits immediately, and we were able to cut a check to make payroll. And at that moment, it was my rock bottom in the worst way, where I was like, this is painful. I don't want to go through that experience again. And so I made a couple of big changes literally on that Monday. Monday, the next week, one, I said, hey, I'm going to bring in some salespeople, increase our revenue. We have to bring in revenue. And number two is what we're doing right here on this call. I got to get out of my lane, and I have to start making relationships count for me. And I have to build relationships, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they get in that lane, they have this mission they're on, and they don't want to take the time to get outside of that lane and connect with people like yourself. And I made my mission right then to connect with as many business owners as I could. And that, above all, changed the course. I mean, ultimately, in the next couple of years, we're able to pay off the initial investors back. And it really changed. Now, of course, like you said, still many more lumps, many more failures. But I think the failure, if we can dig into that pain that comes from failure, we can make massive changes.